Well, hey everybody, welcome to my basement. This is Christopher Farms, and I'm Chris. And, well, more specifically, yes, we are in the basement. I have had this basement as an ongoing project since I moved into the house. And it's also involved in parts of other projects, like the plumbing, the water heaters down here. This is a newer high efficiency one. The old water heater, going to plumb it in as an extra water tank. And deep freezer, and I've got wiring that needs to be redone. Some of this stuff is old cloth wire that definitely needs to be redone. Some of these projects have been started, but the main issue that I have is the basement leaks, and I want to store things down here, food and sort of non-perishable items, and then just things that I might need in the house but not need that often that you typically store in a basement. But the problem is, it doesn't leak water, it leaks mud, or rather, the water brings mud in. It comes in down here on this corner behind me, and there's a floor drain down here, which is convenient because it's a gravity floor drain. It drains out to a point lower on my property, so I don't need a sump pump. So I can wash the mud away, but I have to do that every time it rains, and it's not really convenient to bring a hose down here, splash mud and water everywhere when I have stuff for storage. So I'm going to try and take care of that today with some stuff I got. So stick with me. I'll show you. I'll apply it. We won't know if it actually is working until it rains. So we'll see. Here's what I picked up. This Quikrete Water-Stop Cement. I got it at the Home Depotamus, and it was about 16 bucks. I had to just look that up. And when I looked it up, I realized the 20-pound bucket was only like $3 more. Oh well. At any rate, I've never used this before. It actually says it's will stop active water leaks in 3 to 5 minutes, and the instructions sort of imply that you're actively leaking. I could wait until it's actively leaking, but the problem is it says also make sure that the crack is clean, and when I'm actively leaking, well, my basement's actively leaking, it's bringing in silt, so it's not exactly clean. So I read the instructions on this. It is 4.5 parts of the product to 1 part water, and I've got my 1 part water in here, so I need to measure this out. It also says to use some gloves, so I don't really want my hands to get irritated by the concrete product, which can happen. I won't tell any stories, but at any rate, I put these on, mix up this product, and the instructions also say do not mix up any more than you can use in like 2 to 3 minutes. And then it also says if you need to apply more, don't let the first round of what you've applied set up before you do the second round. So I don't know. Maybe I better reposition my camera before I mix this stuff up, because I want to show you guys what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh look, battery's low. That's nice. All right, so I got that mixed up. Here it is. It's a putty, heavy putty-like consistency, and it's a little warm. The instructions I had to reread because it said mix by weight, not by volume, and I was mixing by volume, so I had to add a little bit of water. Not a big deal. This is my main crack right here, and it's pretty deep and comes up here. So I'm just going to start filling this stuff in here, and I can squeeze it in my fingers a little bit, but it's going in there pretty good. The light's probably not really the greatest for you guys to see. Mixing it was a little difficult by hand because it wanted to get into the corners, and having something like a screwdriver or something to sort of peel it out of the corners would have been good. It makes quite a bit on just 4 cups, but I might have to add a little bit more water because it's drying out. I think it's setting up. All right, that got some of it back into action, I think. So I'm just going to try and push this up in here. Mix up what I can. Doesn't look very pretty, but it's the basement. The basement doesn't look very pretty. So this crack sort of runs down this wall, and I've got several places that need it, but I think what I'm going to do is just see how this works until the next rain and go from there. I don't know, I definitely haven't mastered this technique because about half of what I mixed up is already hard in the bucket. I'll probably have to throw the bucket away. Okay, I went ahead and continued and decided I'd go ahead and try some more of this, and I think maybe I found the trick out is I just put some in here and started mixing it up, and it was real watery, and then I just added some of the powder until I got to the consistency that I wanted. I think on that first go around I didn't have enough water off the bat, and when I stopped mixing it, it started setting up right away. So this is a lot better, and I think more pliable, probably easier to work with. So I'm going to continue on, and maybe, and I can feel up in here and push this in here, and I'm just picking stuff up that I drop and keep going. This is probably more of a consistency that you're working with. I don't know if it's consistency of mortar. I don't think it's as grainy as mortar would be, but and the little cracks I'm not as worried about fixing. We're getting set up because I can come back in with the smaller ones like this and use like the waterproofing paint, I think. So these major cracks are the ones that, oh wow, it's already setting up. Yeah, don't mix any more than you can use in a minute or two until you get good at it. Don't gab on the camera because you'll run out of time. Well, okay, that was interesting. Learning curve real quick. Follow the instruction, measure by weight. When in doubt, add a little bit of water, get it to the consistency that you want, a little bit of powder. 10 pounds does not go a long way. I should have got a 20-pound bag. I got most of what I wanted to do though done once I sort of figured out all this stuff. A couple of tips: make sure you have gloves because yeah, you probably don't want that on your hands. And here's what I was left with in this bucket. I can still feel a little heat in there. So there's probably 5 pounds in the bottom of that bucket. Well, that might be why I ran out so quick. So don't use your best favorite bucket because it might not make it. So yeah, it's a little messy, and yeah, inside the bucket is a bag. I suppose that's to keep it from getting moist. I don't know. So lost a bucket, gained a little bit of a mini bucket, I guess, and hopefully, hopefully that will. Well, that didn't work very good. Anyway, hopefully that will stem the water from coming in a little bit. I have a feeling that now that maybe it's plugged up down on that lower course of block, the water might creep up and start leaking in a little bit higher. But I'll address that as it happens. I probably will wait a little while to move a bunch of storage stuff down in here just to see in case I have to hose things down. But I'll try and stay on top of it so it won't be as bad to hose the mud down if I have to, I suppose. But hopefully that goes a long way to taking care of it, and I can have a nice dry basement. Well, I think that's it. And you know, if you have ever used this stuff, let me know how you did down in the comments, and any tips, because I'll probably have to do this again. I definitely didn't do this right. I can tell you that. I sort of followed the instructions. But yeah, if you've used this before, successfully or unsuccessfully, let me know down in the comments, and maybe I can learn something and do it right when I have to do this again. Take care, everybody, and see you next time.